Hi. Welcome to Normal World. I'm Dave Landau. Quarter Black is out today. He's at the doctor taking care of some congenital anomalies. So go ahead and pull and pray for him. Joining us today, also as usual, Angela.
Hi.
What's up?
I don't have any congenital anomalies.
I doubt it. There's a trail that follows you. Good to be here.
It's fair.
It's a terrible thing to say. I feel like we should just say that off camera.
Well, we've already done the
Yeah,
damage.
it's over now. You can't edit anything. That's the deal, everybody. And welcome to Normal World. If you happen to be near Fort Wayne, Indiana this weekend, come by and say hi. I'm going to be at Summit City Comedy Club, and also just announced August 21st right here in Dallas at the Addison Improv, so technically Addison. Come out to the show. Buy some tickets. But enough about me. Your first guest tonight, I'd like to welcome. She's the host of Dumpster Fire, so why don't you go to her YouTube page and tongue punch that like button. Let's see what that looks like. That's ours, you can tongue punch, but I want you to tongue punch hers as well. It's very important to make sure that all boxes are punched. Please welcome Bridget Phetasy.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm fantastic.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always so much fun.
I'm glad you came back.
I just love it. It's an off week from Dumpster Fire, so I get to just do what I would do on Dumpster Fire.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same show.
Yeah, this show is a dumpster fire in a way.
It is. Yeah, it's not the show, it's the business. But also, I'm kidding, of course. Everything else is professional. Also joining us, you can see his one-man show, Pervert, this October in Switzerland. Please welcome back to the show, my boy, Yoshi.
Dave, thanks for the invite, and it's great to be back.
I'm just glad you're back.
I'm excited that Bridget is here.
I'm excited that I want to hear about all these travels you've been
We're going to
teasing us with.
I saw her in Dissidence Dialogue. You killed it. You're very funny,
Thank you.
captivating, and the audience needed that. So, yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
Thanks. That was a fun event. That was a hard event. One of the hardest I've ever done in my life.
Well, let's explain to the crowd what it is.
I did this event called Dissident Dialogues.
An airplane hangar.
In an airplane. It was a yacht hangar.
I'm sorry.
In Brooklyn. Which, as you know, is not, they were like, oh, we come do stand-up comedy. And I was like, okay. And I think stand-up comedy means at night. And then I look, and it's 3:00 in the afternoon when I get the schedule.
The best time for it.
The best time for a bunch of autistic podcast listeners to appreciate my humor. And
You could have just said podcast listeners.
yes.
The autism's redundant.
It really is. And then I looked up the event and it was this hangar and I'm like, oh, I'm screwed. So basically on the plane ride there and the day before, I just decided I was going to kind of roast the event.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't get up there and do a set. This is just not the right thing. And then it went over well and they were good sports about it. I kind of gave them a heads up. I'm like, hey, I might be pivoting to roasting this event.
Did it feel good then?
It was so fun.
Good.
Yeah.
'Cause he loved you.
It needed to have the, but I mean, I talked a little bit, not seriously, but I was talking about comedy and how stand-up is just kind of, I think a lot of comedians held the line over the past 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Some didn't, but many did. And
Well, I mean, I think the show was very heady.
yeah.
And it was too serious for like a couple hours. So I think they really needed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the theme?
Well, I came right after it was our panel that we did, that I hosted. I don't know why they asked me, but it was a panel on like the future of feminism.
Oh, God, that's awful.
But it's better than
cool.
Francis.
No.
Francis Foster had to come after the actual Iranian dissident.
I'm sure there's a reason.
No, it was outstanding. And you, Anna Kashian, who was a couple other.
Kathleen Stock.
Yeah.
And you're Francis Foster's friend, right?
Who?
Francis Foster?
Yes. Francis Foster. You're his friend, yeah.
Hey, okay. I just want to make sure I know who's who.
Yeah.
I don't know one person you just named, but I'm playing along as if I do.
No, it was outstanding. That whoever cast all the speakers are outstanding, and you were asking all the good questions, and the audience were really captivated by the whole thing.
Yeah, it was Diana Fleischman and Mary Harrington as well, who I love. Mary's she's special.
Nice.
It was actually kind of funny too. They had a pretty good sense of humor.
They were all hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these were women?
Yeah, believe it or not.
What? Go on.
Real woman.
I mean, yeah.
Not fake women.
No, but so it wasn't men.
Just being funny.
Yeah, it wasn't just the kids in the hole. It was these actually women making jokes.
No, it was
Talk
the
about
future of feminism like panel, but they're all very funny women.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. And then I did my thing after that.
And you were telling us this, how you got home. You want to tell everybody about how you got home after that event?
Yeah, I was up. Well, first of all, I was roasting the event because, as you know, they had VIP up in above everybody else, and I was like, "What is this Hunger Games shit?" Like,
that's exceptionally twatty. I don't know if there's another
you're
word.
looking down on.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're lucky, you might get some of Richard Dawkins' DNA because everybody up there is just spitting on the plebs while you go to the bathroom.
It's just Donald Sutherland and Stanley Tucci just watching you all.
It was very, yeah. And one of he had a great sense of humor about it, but one of the guys one of the like co-producers, Dash, he had this long blue like velvet jacket on. It looked like he was in the Hunger Games. I was like, look at this outfit. And we were up there and this woman kind of came up to me and she was like, "Hey, I'm a huge crazy stalker. Do you want a ride home?" And I was like, "No."
It's usually best to say no.
Yeah, I thought that she meant like in a jalopy. You know, I just imagined that she had a cowboy hat on. And I was like,
In Brooklyn.
Which
is dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually that means you ride a bike and collect dead owls. There's nothing good about that.
And I just imagine getting murdered somewhere in West Virginia or like Arkansas, you know?
Just put them in a truck.
Make sure you bring my body to Tennessee at least. I don't want to die in Arkansas. No offense, Arkansas.
No one.
And I was like, "No, thanks. I have a ticket in coach. Thank you very much."
Yes.
I was in like 30F on the way there, by the way. I was in the back of the plane in a middle seat in coach going, what am I doing with my life? Writing jokes, roasting, you know, like people who are really successful.
Nothing makes you feel better than when you can hear the bathroom the whole flight. That makes you just feel like a success story.
I opened the whole set being like, I'm sorry you guys got like the dollar store Barry Weiss. Like they spent all their money on Ion and actual, you know, thinkers. And so we ended up, she was like, "No, I mean on my plane." I was like, oh, it's amazing how fast the risk assessment changes in that moment. You're like, I'll risk getting strangled on a flight.
Like, so I don't have to sit in 34C? You're like, all right, I'll take my chances.
Like, I should probably ask my husband if he's like cool with this. And he's like, is she gonna take you to Singapore and harvest your organs? I'm like, well, let me ask her. Yeah. I said, are you going to take me to Singapore and harvest my organs? And she's like, ugh, the Gulf Stream can't get to Singapore.
Well, then when you got Gulfstream out of it, it's just an automatic yes.
I was like, what world do you guys live in? Can I please occupy it? But yeah, she was actually lovely.
It wasn't even a no, though, on the organ harvesting. It was just where she would take you.
Yeah, we're not going to make it there.
Yeah, we're not going to make it there. The first part of the question I'm not going to answer, but we're not going to get to Singapore.
Mexico, on the other hand.
Yeah, this baby goes.
You think they're harvesting organs in Singapore?
I just need you to wear this price tag around your neck and we're going to be off to the races.
I was not worried about being sex trafficked because I'm too old for that. No one wants this beat up.
You'd be surprised. There's got to be a few purchasers out there.
No. I wasn't worried about ending up in Dubai and in like some harem.
Is that the worst way to end up? I mean, if you're sex trafficked as somebody who's an adult and you end up in like a nice part of Dubai and you don't have a family, it's a win. Yeah. It's a win, right?
No.
A little bit?
I feel like I was too old to be sex trafficked in my 30s. They don't want They don't want this dusty JJ.
That's odd. I've been sex trafficked many times, and I'm 42. Most of it was last week.
So yeah, it was just the two of us. She's actually lovely. I love her. She was like, we're friends now. She's
That's
Gen
awesome.
X. Yeah.
You call her about her plane. You're like, so are you busy?
Like,
Does your plane want to go to where I need to be today? Does your plane want to go to Dallas?
does your plane happen to be going to Rhode Island in a month? Because my dog could use a ride.
Yeah, just wondering if you were interested.
No, she was really very sweet and a lovely human being. So, it was a nice way to, after going there, and we weren't like paid very much. A lot of people, there was like a hit piece that just kind of came out about it, and it was something like the intellectual or the something like they cash in on their grift or something like that. Basically, calling all of us grifters.
Well, everything's a grift. It's just how good you are at it.
I'm horrible at it.
It's a job.
Yeah, obviously I'm like, it's even worse to be called a grifter when you're not rich, because that not only are you a grifter, you're bad at like, I'm a bad grifter. Like,
You should do it again
what?
next year.
Yeah, I want to roast it every year.
Okay.
I think it should be a thing.
See, I feel that that's how you're not a grifter, though, is when you're not wildly successful at it, because then they're like, well, she's probably just a person. But when you are a grifter, that's when you're loaded. That's the way I see it. I just think everybody more successful than me is a grifter.
I'm like, so you're destining us to be poor forever.
No, yeah, I want to be real.
This is the Gen X thing. Like, I don't want to sell out, man.
Oh, I want to sell out. I already have twice, and it didn't pay off. I sold out for 1.5 years against my beliefs, and it worked for dick. I shouldn't say all these things out loud. Angela remembers. Do you remember when you sold out?
No, I don't.
No?
Yeah, I do.
That's odd. You don't remember that.
I remember it. I try to block it out.
Yeah.
I do want to do it again. It was a really fun event. And like everybody who was there that I met, you get to meet people who listen to your podcast. And I would definitely, it was like really, it was one of those. And I got to just remember, I went back to my hotel and there was like a pop-up DJ.
Okay.
And this is the thing about like the red pilling.
Oh, you sent me the video.
It was so fun.
Yes. Okay.
But see, this is what I mean about being like, when you're kind of like us, where you're lost in the culture war, politically homeless or whatever, don't give an F about where you are.
Right.
Those are my people, though. You know, I used to like dance, and you don't want to lose that either.
Telling me, sister.
And just become like this.
Honestly, I'm at an age where if there was a pop-up DJ at my hotel, I'd be like,
You're like calling the police.
like, what is this shit? Like, I just want to go to my room.
Like a noise complaint.
What do you mean you don't have room service, but you have 30 people on ecstasy dancing?
30. It was like 200.
It was a lot of people.
It was so fun. But you don't want to like lose that. It was just all people dancing. And I feel like in the kind of, you know, when you get lost in the culture war and it's your whole identity and personality and people who are just consuming politics all day, it's not healthy.
But you forget life.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see it every now and then, especially when it just pops up around you and you're like, oh yeah, there's people and sunshine. And
they're dancing. They're
other
dancing.
Everything's not just doom. And
Yeah.
doomsday prep. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually a chance that we might make it.
Yeah, and most of these people aren't consumed by this whatever, you know. It was good. It was good to remember. I don't know.
Civil War.
Well, I mean, when COVID started, it was such a scary time because you can't even talk about anything.
Did you bring it over here?
What?
What? I'm kidding. Because you're Asian.
Well, yes.
Go on, Yoshi.
Sorry, I mean, it's not really working
Is
well.
it not? If you use
turn it up?
If you turn it up on the right.
Over there. On the little box.
Don't your children build these?
Nope.
It's on the right.
It's your children. You're just letting Dave get away with all his racism.
I know. It's because he can't hear me.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're saying.
The worst Asian. Now,
I know, right? You can't work electronics.
but during the COVID,
Next, you're
it's like
not a doctor.
when you question things, you know, like people get angry, and it was really a dark time, you know.
Yeah.
The fact that a couple years later we have events like that, I couldn't imagine a couple years ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think
You travel everywhere.
I travel. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love during COVID time because it was so cheap.
It was amazing.
It was so cheap to travel.
Best.
And whenever somebody wanted to sit next to me, I cough a couple of times. They'd just move away, So
You had the look too.
yeah, so I went and
This is Larry David wearing the MAGA hat.
Yeah, it's just you without a mask coughing during COVID, and you could get your own table. Your own. You're just in front, so first class by yourself.
Hotels were cheap, like penthouse. I mean, you name it, everything was cheap during the time. But I mean, I guess when you look at stuff online, the country seemed divided. But when I was traveling, regular folks were kind everywhere.
Yeah.
That's something that you didn't notice,
Yeah.
I was going back and forth from New York to Detroit, and then I would perform in Florida and Alabama, places that didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
And it was the best though. I mean, you were seriously getting your own seats on the plane. Everything was clean.
Yeah.
We were actually cleaning the airport, which I had never seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like it was the nicest time to travel.
It was wild.
Yeah.
We went to South Africa for our honeymoon, and it was during this
COVID?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was during the South African remember when there was a strain and everyone was like, don't go. I'm like, this is all just they're just blaming them because they have scientists. This is BS. They're being punished for basically finding it. And we went and we were on 2 long hauls, and it was 5 people. Which is not, it was crazy. And we went to, you've been through Atlanta.
Of course. Yes.
Busiest
I don't
airport.
know if I'd call it South Africa, but you do you. So you were through Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's where we ended.
Yes.
On
Peachtree somewhere.
There was no one in the airport. It was like being in a movie. There was literally no one in the airport. It was wild.
It seriously felt like 28 days later where you're just walking through, except you knew people were sick, but you didn't quite know. But I was just so happy. I didn't have to talk to anybody. Nobody would sit next to me, and they're like, we're not going to be serving food. And I'm like, I don't want your stupid cookies.
Yeah.
No.
And then when I was visiting New York City, it was really completely empty. I've never seen New York City like that ever.
Yeah, other than people having broad daylight intercourse in the subway, it was pretty much no one around. That's why I left New York City. I was on Anthony's show at the time. We started filming at his house in Long Island.
Oh, that's right.
Because every time you would walk around, it would just be rats this big. And I'd be like, oh, is that a puppy? I'm like, oh, it's not. That's going to eat a homeless person later tonight. It became, and the trash was kind of stacked up, but I remember I took a picture.
Nature's healing.
Yeah. I took a picture in Times Square. I got to find it, and it's nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was nobody outside when I took I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I have to stand in the middle of the street and take this photo because it'll probably never happen again.
Yep.
And it's not one person is out. And it wasn't even that late. It was 9:30 or something.
I'm mad. I thought I took pictures of the airport, but I think I was just because that airport is Atlanta in particular, it's so insane.
It's the busiest airport in the world.
Yeah. And it was wild. And then in South Africa, they had a very good handle on it. They had reasonable. It was all very I'm like, how can we not get this together in our country? And then even if you were somebody who was not still in your apartment 2 years later and had been outside of California or New York, you would go back there you don't have to live like this, right? It was weird. We drove from California to Arizona, and they were playing what's the game where you have the bean bags? Cornhole?
Cornhole, yeah.
They're playing cornhole. Little kids are running around. There was a DJ, and this was summer of 2020.
Yeah.
This was May of 2020, and they were all this isn't a thing.
That's what I loved about Florida.
Yeah.
You could just do stand-up. And they were like, we've moved the tables 3 inches apart from each other as per law. And that was it.
New York, they've got plexiglass. Remember how people were doing it behind the plexiglass?
You just have people. I remember when it was beginning of COVID, my cousin came to visit me in New York, and this gentlewoman, we'll call her, in an askew wig, was just walking down the street and just vomits all over the front of a Starbucks, right as she was getting out of a cab. And I'm like, welcome to New York. But she's like, this is how dirty it is. And it was right at the beginning. And I'm like, no, this is the cleanest it's been in some time. Because you would go into every store and they'd be wearing the rubber gloves. they'd have the plexiglass. It was like everything was a salad bar.
Yeah.
And then they just had the mask on, and it's like, what are we doing?
The dumbest stuff. Like wearing a mask to go sit down at your table. I still, every time I see the 6 feet apart, especially now that all this stuff is coming out, that they were like, oh, we don't even really know where it came from. The like
Fauci
these
just
rules.
admitted he made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's arbitrary.
I still see those like little footprints on, the 6 feet apart footprints. And I'm like, this is messed up. This was a social experiment to see how many people would just like go along with this was fucking Simon Says for an entire population.
Well, I loved how that they're worn down, and at same Starbucks, I just remember this. There was a homeless guy, and he was pouring sugar and milk and all this stuff onto a counter, and then stirring it and licking it. Oh, meanwhile, everybody else is still 6 feet away in line, because they have to obey the wokeness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also have to deal with the health issue. And it's like, if I want milk, I have to go to where that man's licking a counter. So which is it, guys? Like, take a pick, because this is disgusting.
Yeah.
And that guy didn't care. He's like, no, I can just do this. I pee here. I do whatever I want. Like,
So during COVID, you were living in New York City.
yes.
I noticed two groups that were hurting. COVID were hurting was homeless people.
Yes.
Because when people didn't show up, there's no change, so they were getting really angry. And rats. There was not enough restaurant in business, so they were cannibalism. They were just eating each other.
Yeah.
I saw that in Chinatown. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The number of rats I would see that were enormous, because they were the ones that were really like the size of Splinter. They were they were the ones that were in charge.
Yeah.
Because they were huge. I had never seen anything like that big. And then some of them were coming up through like the toilets, like on the first floor and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a fun.
In Chinatown, they'll get up on their hind legs and start hissing at you.
Really?
Yes.
It's like the rats in Australia. Have you ever seen them?
Oh God, no.
They're adorable. They're like kangaroos, but
Yeah.
they're rats. Like people feed them and stuff at restaurants because they're like, look how cute this thing is. And it's like, it's a rat that just knows how to stand cute.
Yeah, it's wild. I feel like we collectively just like eternally sunshine. People were like, they didn't want people to do stand up about it. They didn't want people to talk about it. They just kind of wanted to move on. And meanwhile, people who were alone, living alone. Were you alone?
No, I was with friends in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
People who were alone suffered a lot. It was really dark. It got dark.
Grandparents died alone because you were.
Oh God, I can't. I get so mad.
They were just trying to make one corporation of just like Google Hub Zon. It's just whatever it was, where like they just kept like a few of those open. And then the other one, it was like, we also have these places for your grandparents to die in.
Yeah.
You're like, of COVID, it's like either that or we're going to hire Crip members to punch them in the face and then put it on TikTok. Either way, happy COVID. And that's really what it was becoming. Because even in New York, remember when they brought up that giant ship?
Oh, yeah.
The hospitals were overran?
For the cadavers or whatever.
Yeah, no one was ever on it. It was never it was just there. It was nothing more than a showpiece. That's all it was there for, was to tell people that's what it was about.
Right. No one ever got put on it.
Yeah, look, if I could have quit COVID, I would have. But at the time, I hadn't heard of Fume. And I'm not saying that would cure COVID, because obviously it wouldn't. But I'm just saying, it helps you quit. See, Fume is a flavored air device. It's kind of like how COVID was an unflavored air device to slowly ruin our entire world. But this does not. Fume is an air device that will help people with, I don't know, maybe if you were vaping, maybe if you were smoking. I'm not saying it will work for sure. In fact, I can't say it will work for sure.
It's a variety of bad habits.
Yes.
Yeah, any bad habit you have, this can help you.
Well, you're working on a bad habit. How's Fume working for you?
I've had a setback after the tree, but...
Well, when a tree hits your house, you might have a need to do something naughty.
Right.
That will happen.
Yeah.
But if you are out there and you have a house that's actually in house shape and you want to quit something that's considered a bad habit, I think Fume is the way to go. I know a lot of people who use it. They show me at shows if I don't believe them. They order it. They love it. It really helps them. It helps with the oral fixation of some diseases. It's how I quit eating bananas. Just
I love it's like, don't say quit, and you just can't stop saying
I know,
quit.
right? I'm trying not to. I like to put the whole banana in my mouth, peel it, and then spit it out for $1. It's pretty amazing. I don't know if you've ever seen me do the
They
trick.
have banana flavored fumes.
They might, but they do have some peppers and some other. What flavors do they have?
Peppermint.
Angela?
Yeah, they have sweet mint. They do have like a black pepper, maple pepper one and a white
South
cranberry.
Africa is where you would have that. There's also a white cranberry.
Yes.
Which is genetically superior cranberries. So you can use this. You can use these natural, delicious flavors, put them in your mouth, and enjoy trying to quit something that is not good for you. There's no reason to die young. There's no reason. Why don't you just try? All you have to do is go to tryfume.com and use code NORMAL. And what will they get, Angela?
They are going to get the Journey Pack, which
Yeah.
includes the fume and a variety of flavors.
That's what you got.
Yes.
What's your favorite?
Honestly, I like the crisp mint.
Oh, I like that.
I was a menthol.
See, I was a menthol boy for a long time. Noops.
Nope.
Yeah.
Noop
Aren't they
dogs.
banned now? Some
Yeah, there was fiberglass in them. We knew that then, though.
Yeah, it didn't stop
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, it didn't stop me. I was like, I'll take the hundreds, please.
they banned them, and then everyone was like, "This." Biden banned them, and he's like, "It was weird." The reactions they were getting online to this.
I feel like he's going to unban them to get a vote.
Yeah,
You know, it's a good possibility because I know that
they banned everywhere, or just in
I
certain.
think just certain cities, but I could be wrong. I think you can still get a Newport. Mm-hmm. If you can't, I'm going to buy some Newports
Start
driving to
selling them,
California.
me too.
You're already paying $15 a pack.
I'll show you Grifter. Yeah, he's selling Newports out of the back of my freaking car.
out of my car that I've painted Newport on the side of. I'm going to go through.
Dave and I are going on tour.
I'll be going through the inner city with a
We've got
bell
merch.
on my car like I'm the ice cream man. It's like
It's playing the worst hymn of all time.
yeah, it's like who is that? It's Dave, the Newport man.
Come buy some of our merch.
Yeah, come get it. It's like this is all just. Do you need my ID? I don't. I need your money.
We three kings of Orient are. That's the song it's playing.
Is that Sam Cooke? And you're just rolling. Huh? Anybody?
It can be.
Yeah, you like that? I used to love Newports. I haven't had a cigarette since 2012,
Ooh,
but I smoked for 15 years. And I'll tell you, it was delightful.
it's the greatest habit.
Oh, 3 packs a day stunted my growth. It's wonderful. I still, although my lungs are all right, apparently.
It's that bad for you because it's so amazing.
Yeah, it smells terrible now if you're like in a big amount of it. But if someone lights up a cigarette near me, I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. It reminds me of childhood. I'm like, you can blow that right
I
at
was
me.
smoking so
How were you
young.
able to quit? How did you do it?
I heard that I used fume.
Yes.
It was the day before my 30th birthday, and I was living in LA, and I had just paid, I don't know, $29 for the 3rd pack of the day.
Wow.
I was like, I can't do this. And I locked myself in a room for a week. And I just let my body detox. And anytime somebody came in, I was a horrible person.
How long into your recovery were you?
At that time,
Yeah.
3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I had to be sober, then coming down, then quitting that. And it was very, very difficult. But I mean, after a week, I felt better. And then the truth is, after a year, I didn't want one.
Wow.
And then like we were filming one thing here though, for what was it? What was the name of this thing that we did? True Detective. And
McConaughey
you
had to
smoked.
smoke
Oh,
a
yeah,
cigarette.
yeah.
I lit it up and I was like, my God.
Did you miss it?
I finished the whole thing.
You liked it?
Oh yeah, I liked it.
I remember.
I didn't immediately pick up a pack or anything,
Yeah.
but there wasn't a second. Like by the second hit, I was like, "This is just."
I came up to you in the car and you were like, "This is my first cigarette in like 12 years."
Yeah. It gave me a buzz. It made me feel not that it should. It's terrible. It made me feel horrible. That's right, kids. Don't smoke. It only makes you feel good for a minute. Did you ever smoke?
No.
No, never. Okay. Did you? I assume.
Wait, so you were 3 years sober when you quit?
Yes.
That was me.
Okay.
And I wasn't even, and I had quit everything, and then I started smoking in sobriety, and I was like, God damn it. It's good.
Oh, you didn't smoke before?
Well, no, I did. I mean, I only smoked when I drank, is what I said. And everyone's like, so you smoke? Like, that was a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, you're an alcoholic, but they're like, it's only when I drink, which is most of the time.
Just all day, every day, for decades.
I'm not gonna lie. After you have a nice meal in like Tokyo, God, alcohol and cigarette. It's so delicious.
Yeah,
It's a good combo.
Yep.
Have you've done that then?
No, I just never got into it. But everyone in Tokyo smoke. It's really weird if you don't smoke.
It was yeah. That is very common there, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm only guessing by every Asian gambler I've ever seen.
I've had Japanese cigarettes. They're very good.
Have you? Oh, no,
They're very strong.
I'm sure I've had one. Are they more powerful with nicotine?
Yeah.
They're nice.
Oh, like in Canada, they have the gigantic, like dead babies on the front and black.
Yeah.
They're laid
Black
out
lungs.
differently. They're like laid out like a square.
This
You feel a
only
little
makes me
classy.
want them. It's a weird, the contrarian. You're like, you think this is going to stop someone from smoking?
I hate myself.
Has it?
Yeah.
McClowry told me, he's like, I'm just glad you quit because of how feminine you would hold your cigarettes, which no one ever told me. So I was probably just like this, not paying attention, just looking like Cruella de Vil with a 100.
I went through a lot of phases. Like I when I was in rehab, I started smoking American Spirits because they burn the longest, and that's how you got the longest like smoke break.
I get that. And I would trust natives. There's no reason not to smoke those.
It was basically just like the longest cigarette break you could get.
Yeah, in rehab when I first went, I was underage. Well, I was a juvenile, so they wouldn't let us smoke. So when we would go outside, we'd really need them, and we'd be close enough to the adult rehab center where we'd start sneaking them in. So it was like half cigarettes and part cigarettes, and having to smoke them over the toilet and everything, because they used to allow juvenile rehabs to smoke, but then they put a ban on it. Which sucks, because then they just feed you sandwiches all day and stuff, and you're just sitting there just getting fat and wanting drugs and cigarettes, which is not the most pleasant feeling.
This is a dumb question, but like, what does it do? Like, why is there so many different cigarettes? Like, different flavor and taste, or
Just probably different chemicals.
Honestly, I started doing it for social reasons. Like the first
everybody
time,
was doing it?
Yeah, like the first time I had a cigarette was like 11 or 12, behind my parents' garage with some friends. And then by the time I was older, 13, 14, that's when I really started like buying packs. I would take
We have the same life.
Yeah, I would take a note up to this place called Harper Deli, and I would say, I'm having a dinner party, and my son needs to pick up Black and Milds and a pack of Newports and sign my dad's name, and I gave it to him, and they would be like, okay.
What kind of person was a dinner party is getting Newports?
Exactly, no one. No,
Did you go through a Parliament phase when you were doing blow?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I smoked Parliaments. That was the last time. That was the last brand I smoked was Parliaments.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when you're doing Coke, they're great to have because you hide it in the filters.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Red Fox, for the tip.
Yeah, I think I went through a lot of. I think Camel Lights were my favorite, but I think I started with Marlboro Reds and then went to Marlboro Lights and then found Camel Lights.
Camel Crush.
I went through a Newport phase.
You can choose.
Crush is new now, though. It didn't have in my day. You had to have either Camel or Camel Light, and then they had Camel Menthol, then Camel Menthol Light. But you would collect the Camel Cash so you could get a jacket.
The kids are
My
learning
mother-in-law
so much right now.
Still does that. We got Christmas presents that were Camel Cash.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
We got a dartboard. We got a lighter, a big lighter.
Who did that for you?
My mother-in-law.
And is she still around, right?
For now.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Wow.
Just saying, she collects Camel
oh
Cash.
no, we had relatives that that they'd be walking up in a Marlboro jacket, and it's like that thing cost $38,000,
That cost you 15 years of your life.
right? But it was so popular. It was like with Camel Joe, all the kids were like, "That's the coolest."
Yeah.
Like, I loved when Camel Joe would be like in a magazine shooting pool. I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm gonna smoke when I grow up.
So is it safe to say you guys started big because it's socializing thing?
Totally social.
I feel like, I don't remember. It was like my parents were getting divorced and I was just acting out and I thought it was kind of cool to just, I was entering into my, Kurt Cobain phase or something. Like I just was, I think it actually did like take an edge off a certain amount of, I found like a lot of relief in it.
And is it appetite suppressing part so you could lose weight?
I didn't care about that. I was always
you could though, but
Yeah.
mine was more of the anxiety.
it calmed me down.
Yeah, I have bad anxiety, so at that time, smoking with some people, it made me relax.
Yep.
And then once you added drinking to it, that really helped with my anxiety.
Yeah.
Tremendous drug if you're anxious. And then you add cigarettes on top of it I would probably drink, I don't know, like let's say I was drinking 20 beers a night and then I would have at least 2-3 cigarettes per beer.
Yeah. Well, and then I was in the restaurant industry for so long, and
You
it
have to
was
smoke.
it was the only. Well, even like in rehab, if you didn't smoke, you were like out of the loop of what was going on in the rehab.
Is that right?
It was like you were. It was like you might as well have. It's like the equivalent of not having the internet now. It was just where all the gossip got shared. Everybody, like whatever drama was going down, happened in the smoke pit. And now it's like I don't know. It's when I was waiting tables in the restaurant industry. You know the Bear show?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
I was like, oh my God.
used
When
to
he
be in
was
it.
drinking out of only someone in the restaurant industry, when he was drinking out of the to-go quarts.
Oh, God,
I was like, I am so triggered right now sitting on that crate, drinking out of those quarts. That was like a good solid decade of my life. I would go into work with the shakes
Oh, yeah.
regularly.
I didn't have that when I worked in the restaurant industry, but I definitely had it in many other industries I worked in. Where in the restaurant industry, I would definitely drink, but I was always I was a busboy at first for a long time.
Yeah, that was my first job.
Yeah, and all I wanted was $5 for a sack, $3 for 40, and then $2.50 for a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And that was my whole so if I could get around $10 every night, I was always very happy. So I'd work like a 5-hour shift, and this woman named Crazy Debbie would always give us like $3, and her car was keyed to shit. I don't know who did it. But every day, that's all you wanted. You had like the exact budget for okay, alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, and then I can leave happy. And I'd take a piece of pie or like a cannoli.
I might be wrong, but there was a guy named Bernays. He was Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Okay.
He was into advertisement and propaganda, but he was the first one to convince these elite women in New York City during suffrage movement to smoke cigarette in front of a camera for the New York Times. When the rest of the country saw that, they realized that's what you're supposed to do because all the elite women back then were doing that. So that had a trickle effect. Like rest of the country started smoking. Like this is a very sophisticated thing to do.
Oh, it was definitely a sign of opulence for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, and now if you can afford to smoke, I mean, yeah, you look pretty rich.
I mean, what is it, $15, $18 in New York City?
So crazy.
Gotta be. I mean, I was paying, when I quit in 2012, I think I was paying around $7 to $9.
Yeah.
What?
Right in there, yeah, and that
It's
was
$8
then.
a pack now.
It's
and
$8 here?
in New York, it's $15.
Yeah,
a
in
pack.
California, it was really.
California was like $7 to $9 then, depending on where you went.
It's insane.
This is like a low cost cigarette state.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, yeah.
$8 a pack.
That's it. And it used to be a quarter in a machine that you would see at Big Boy.
And it's
Or
like a
50
low. It was a kind of like a low class habit.
It was.
Yeah, I don't know how the low class afford cigarettes anymore. Do they
Wherever
get
you-
them on the black in the black market?
They do. It's the only place you can get them because they were always in like pool halls, bars.
They're like $2.
Yeah, and once I remember when they were going to ban smoking in at least Michigan. I'm like, how are bars going to make it? I can't believe they're still open. Because in bars there was never somebody not with a cigarette.
Yeah.
It was just it came with the territory of
It does show you like a lot of that stuff works. Like it did kind of fall out of fashion. The younger generation doesn't smoke really, but now they all vape.
which is the
Like you
worst.
didn't get a generation to quit smoking. Now they just all vape.
Yeah, now why? It's cherry flavored.
Yeah, no, just smoke like a grown up.
Yeah, smoke like you're John Wayne. drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and
I love that this is I mean, if we don't have the cigarette companies knocking down our doors to sponsor our tour after this,
yeah, that's true.
I will be very upset.
Yeah, I don't see if there's anything wrong. If you want to sponsor me, Newport just sends a hat that you have to wear sideways, and then you have to rap their jingle. That's why I wore, because I a lot of the people I hung out with at that time were, it was more like a thuggish, and you wanted to pretend you were tough. So for some reason, Newport was the brand that everybody wanted to. It was like when we drank Colt 45 or St. Ides, which I don't know. Is St. Ides even still around?
I don't know.
I haven't
Familiar with that?
Yeah, it was my kind of like I went through that phase.
St. Ides.
No, just like my Newport phase.
Oh, okay. Because I will tell you, I used to get handles of OE64. So it would be, instead of a 40 ounce, 64 ounce, and it had a nice little handle.
Do kids party like this anymore?
No, they're all losers. Bunch of nerds.
They're protesting now.
Yeah.
That's how they party.
Just like go smoke a cigarette, drink
Get
a
some
40.
Mad Dog 2020.
Don't chop your dick off and wear a keffiyeh.
Honestly, like if there were no cameras and you were drinking 40s and your friends were hanging out with you and making fun of you and you're trying to impress girls, there'd be nearly no dick chopping off.
Yes.
Am I right? You needed a strong group of friends
Yeah.
to tell you that you were worthless
Yeah.
whenever you came up with a bad idea. Like someone needed to punch you or force you to do a drug. I don't know why, but it helped.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, in high school, kids that were smoking did look pretty cool. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. They did look pretty
We were cool.
Look at,
That's right, nerd.
we were talking about, look at Matt Dillon in The Outsiders.
Oh, yeah.
Him with a cigarette in his mouth, I'm like, I'd bang him. It's incredible. It's a total outlaw.
By the way, I went to the same place in Tulsa.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. I asked them why there were so little pictures of Tom Cruise, and this is what they told me. They thought he's not going to make it out of all of them.
Yeah.
And like, it just shows like people don't know. It's like,
They don't know how good Scientology is.
Yeah. Yeah, they really didn't. It turns out that he's 75 years old and he still looks 20 because I don't know what magic is in sin, but when it hits a man's gullet, boy, it makes you look young.
This man, though, he makes me think I should join.
Tom Cruise? Well, someone's got to marry him every now and then. Why don't you jump in? He needs to straight marry a fellow.
I'm not going to lie. If I could look like that, 60?
Dude,
he looks
he's
amazing.
in his 60s for real.
He's like the stunts this guy does at 60 years old.
Insane.
I'm a believer.
It's got to work.
Sign me up.
You look at Tom
Take
Cruise.
my thetans or whatever.
Well, Tom Cruise is in that movie, The Outsiders. Rob Lowe.
He looks great too.
That's amazing. There's
What did they do to get that movie?
something happened in that movie, and then and Ralph Macchio.
Yes.
Ralph Macchio looks like he's 25, and the guy's in his 60s.
Sold their soul.
Well, no, but then if you look at some of the other Outsiders, it's dead and definitely 60. And
Yeah.
is that guy 70? No, he's only 58, and that's C. Thomas Howell. But the other three, I think some of them got the magic elixir, and the other ones, nay, so much.
They so much.
But I'll tell you what you can get a lot of. BlazeTV. And I suggest that you go ahead and subscribe to that because there's an election coming up. So there's going to be a lot of important conversations going on that aren't going to be allowed on just certain mainstream random, channels like, I don't know, 2, 4, or 7, let's just say. Or maybe there's going to be, I don't know what year it is. Also, there's certain companies that won't let you say stuff, or they might flag your stuff because you're talking about it. And we want to have real conversations, like the real conversation Sarah had when she went down to Detroit and asked people what their thoughts were on voting. Sure, I did it years ago, but give her more credit because she works here. So if you want to see more about Sarah's wonderful second shot at what I did, you can go to blazetv.com and subscribe today. And when you do, be sure to use promo code NORMAL. I'm of course kidding. We're a big fan of the show. We're a fan of Sarah. She avoids us. code NORMAL, you will get $20 off, and that's blazetv.com, and use it. You get $20 off just for using that code right off of your subscription, and you can watch all kinds of stuff behind the paywall, like, in fact, our Outsiders home tour, where we learn all about this house, how it was rebuilt, and all this other exciting jimble jazzle.
Woo.
All right. BlazeTV.com. It's an orgy in your mouth.
In your ears.
It's an ear orgy. It's an orgy sex party. Have I made it awkward enough? All right. Let's just jump to it. Well, actually, let's find out where we're going to see everybody first. We're going to jump out of here, but we're going to come back on Tuesday with a part 2.
If you need an AA meeting, we understand.
You do get it. I apologize how much we've glorified alcohol and cigarettes. I feel nostalgic through addiction.
I feel like I'm on an updated version of Wayne's World.
Yeah.
That's high praise.
Thank you. Usually we get called the poorer version of that. But where can we find you, Yoshi?
June 27th or 29th, I will be Breaktown Comedy Club in Oklahoma City with Russell Peters. July 11th or 13th, San Jose Improv. July 18th to 20th, Helium Comedy Club in Portland, Oregon. And as far as Switzerland, inyourfacecomedy.ch. That's for Switzerland shows.
Check it out. And Bridget? Dumpster Fire?
Dumpster Fire. Go to Phetasy YouTube channel and subscribe. I'm opening for Colin.
Yeah, at the
The
mothership.
Mothership.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So go out to the
19th
mothership.
and 20th. I think there's still magically tickets for the early shows, which is baffling to me.
Colin Quinn is the
Dates?
most underappreciated
What
stand-up
date
comic.
you're performing?
19th, 20th.
Okay.
An underappreciated stand-up comic.
He's brilliant.
He's one of the best to ever do it, and I highly recommend you go.
Yeah. Not for me, for him.
No,
both. Both.
I've had I've had the pleasure, of watching Bridget get back up there.
I opened for Dave too once, and that was very fun.
That was a good show.
Yeah, that was a great show. Hopefully we'll do that again sometime, folks.
Go see Yoshi. Yoshi's phenomenal as well. Come out to the shows. Now, I just said slurred. I guess it was because of how much I was thinking about how much I miss my old life. End of the world. An 83-year-old tourist was ripped apart by a bison after getting too close at Yellowstone National Park. What would be an equally interesting way for somebody who's 83 years old to die? Angela.
I'm going to say stage diving.
I like that.
It's fun.
They don't catch it. They're like, I think that woman's just falling, but we're not going to toss her through the crowd.
She's gross.
Yoshi?
I don't have anything. Sorry.
You can say, here, we'll edit it. You can say Secret Nursing Home Fight Club.
Oh, God damn it. I didn't even know about
Just
this
say
part.
that.
Oh, no, you're good. Just say what?
Just say that.
Say Secret Nursing Home Fight Club. We'll fix it.
Secret Nursing Home.
Is that a tongue twister? Can you say autoerotic asphyxiation? I feel
Oh,
like
God, no, I can't say that.
Okay.
That was what I was going to go with before I even looked at the list.
India raped?
Just say Fight Club.
India raped.
The Fight Club.
There you go. And then, Bridget, what do you got?
Gang raped in India. No.
That's how I lost my grandmother. Old.
I probably shouldn't have said that.
Do you want to do a different one?
No, I don't care. I
thought it
was
was
gonna
beautiful.
before I even looked at the list. I was gonna say autoerotic asphyxiation. Then I was like, oh, I'm just as fucked up as these people.
I'm just going to say stomp to death in a mosh pit at a white supremacist concert.
I feel like 83-year-olds are really living hard now, though. They're all getting STDs,
Yeah.
partying.
The syphilis numbers are up at the
Yeah.
nursing homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let them.
Yeah. You've made it this far.
Yeah, why not? What does it matter?
Yeah.
I mean, your immune system's wrecked. If you go anywhere near somebody else's genitalia, you're going to at least get something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except pregnant. That waved by to you a long time ago.
Oh, that would be another one.
But yeah, but now, that's why they put plastic on the furniture
Botched
for old
abortion.
people. Yeah, that's true. It's a nice place. So bring grandma to the home. She can spend her last few years getting dick down.
Oh boy.
Having her
What?
Her back blown out. But
That's true.
Didn't-
Yeah, well, I'm sure the hip and knee problems are a real issue there now.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of.
well, we can fix it.
Yeah, that's true. I bet a lot of them have wigs. What's that?
Dave, sorry about that. I completely spaced out.
Maybe a cancer merkin going down on that.
Oh God, a cancer merkin.
All right. You shouldn't apologize. Nobody knows. Good night.